So you think you're a 70s fan. Okay, meathead, can you groove to this? It's I Love the 70s, and this is 1971.
You gotta ask yourself a question.
The flicks, the fashions, the fads, the TV, the tunes, a funkadelic year that gave us these burning questions. What was the real inspiration behind H.R. Pufnstuf?
Pufnstuf? Puffing stuff?
Who's the private dick that's a sex machine to all the chicks?
Shaft!
You think there may have been subliminal messages in the fact that his name was Shaft?
Who knew World War II was so much fun?
Hogan's Heroes was Gilligan's Island meets the Holocaust.
The answers to those questions, plus the last golden ticket and one weepy Native American.
Just so proud. Big tear. And I just felt like, shame.
Because you love the 70s. Because you still try to pour yourself into those hot pants when no one's watching. Admit it. This is 1971.
Oh, yeah. Right on. Can you dig it?
I love the 70s. I love the 70s. I love the 70s.
I'm looking for a named John Shaft.
Just found him.
Every black kid, there's his father and there's Shaft. Shaft was like everybody's surrogate father because he was just a badass.
Shaft is based on this brother, played by Richard Roundtree, who's a detective. The guys wanted to be him, and the women wanted to be with him.
Hey, where the hell you going, Shaft? To get laid. Where the hell you going?
Right on, dude.
I'm going to get me some.
So John Shaft, man, he's gonna bust your ass and get laid.
Also, he had theme music. If you have theme music, life is good.
To this day, in my mind, everywhere I go, I hear that.
Who's the private dick that's a sex machine to all the chicks?
Shaft! Damn right.
Six-years cat Shaft was a bad mother.
Shut your mouth. I'm talking about Shaft. And we can dig it.
John Shaft.
The fight scenes looking back on it now was not really that tight.
That like really choreographed and like, you know, he would be knocked out.
The violence in Shaft was not terribly realistic, but the sex was all real.
My favorite scene was when his girl came home and he just sitting there, butt naked. Let my man be butt naked. I told him, why you ain't at work?
Her hands are rubbing up and down. It's not clear what they're rubbing, and then suddenly, Shaft.
Can you dig it?
I just love the fact that his name was Shaft, and they didn't apologize for it, and everybody knew what they were talking about.
You think there may have been subliminal messages in the fact that his name was Shaft?
Shaft was swinging.
I'm trying to think what messages there could be.
Say it out to your sages. Shaft. Sounds real good.
Oh, you know what? His penis. That's probably what it is. His enormous shaft.
You did.
Hey, you guys!
We're gonna turn it on.
We're gonna bring you the power. We're gonna light up the dark. We're gonna turn you on.
Sesame Street, but for kids a little older, why don't we call it the Electric Company? Why don't you lay off the weed for a little bit?
I was more of an Electric Company guy than a Sesame Street guy. He really was.
To me, Electric Company had them, hands down.
Electric Company was kind of like Sesame Street for cool kids. They pushed the boundaries in terms of language. Words like, you would get the two heads, and go. There we go.
As a kid, he'd go like, butthole, and you just laugh and laugh.
You know? I remember watching it, hoping that they were gonna kiss. They never did.
It looked a little uncomfortable. They got so close, like fish. I just wouldn't want to talk directly to somebody that close.
What's shaking, baby?
How you doing, Easy?
Morgan Freeman was on Electric Company. How strange is that? They played Easy Reader, that's my name, I said.
Easy Reader, that's my name, I tell you.
As far as I'm concerned, still the best thing he's ever done.
Cooling it now.
The Adventures of Letterman.
Letterman, we love Letterman.
It's a word, it's a plan, it's Letterman.
It's Letterman.
He ripped the letter off his chest and saved the day.
Taking the H from his varsity sweater, he changes the air to hair, saving the lady.
And boom, problem solved. Thank you, Letterman.
It was an educational show, disguised as entertainment, which was a big thing in the 70s. Trick the kids into learning.
I love 71.
There was no bigger sex symbol than Tom Jones. Not even Liberace, not even John Denver was a bigger sex symbol than Tom Jones.
Chicks dig Tom Jones.
Give it to me. I got to have it.
Just like Germany digs David Hasselhoff, chicks dig Tom Jones.
It was all about sex and, you know, innuendo. He was sexy, but it seemed kind of cheesy, you know, but it really wasn't.
He was just a Welsh guy that should have been working down the mine. Who discovered he had a decent voice, got himself a perm, and people were throwing their knickers at him.
That little curly hair, he was trying to make it an afro, but you know, y'all hair don't grow that long, so it was like a little afro.
Pussycat, I love you.
He was sexy in his own sort of tight pant, bulging protrusion kind of way.
Tom Jones had a package that UPS couldn't deliver, all right?
He's got a great, you know, instrument.
Tom Jones is exploding downstairs.
Could his pants get any tighter, Tom Jones? I don't think so.
It's not any use you want to be mad with anyone.
I saw him live in Vegas 4 years ago, and people are still throwing their underwear at him.
Tom Jones is still so cool, so hot. He's just eternal.
Solid.
Some people have a deep, abiding respect for the natural beauty that was once this country. And some people don't.
The Indians, contrary to popular belief, were not wiped out through unfair wars and stuff, but they were buried in the white man's litter.
Cherokee People.
He was crying because of litter. And even though he was here first, and we killed all of his people, he was bummed about litter.
I just remember the extreme close-up and a tear going down the Indian's face, and I felt guilty.
Don't cry out loud.
Just so proud. Big tear. And I just felt like shame.
Very heartfelt. And actually, that guy, I think, wasn't actually an Indian, by the way.
I just sensed the Indian was full of it, and he was an Italian man.
It's hard to find an Indian actor because, you know, there's not a lot of good theater schools on the Navajo reservations.
People start pollution. People can stop it.
I love 71.
Coming up, fun with racism on All in the Family.
This is the show that featured America's favorite bigot, Archie Bunker.
You put a jack and a chink together, you're gonna tell me which is which?
Plus, if there's a bustle in your hedgerow, don't be alarmed now.
When I hear it now, I still think about the smell of bong water and keg juice.
And board games in the afterlife, a winning combination.
Trying to conjure up spirits, and it was creepy. I don't even want to mess with those anymore.
Next on I Love 1971. But first, the roller rink anthem of 1971.
Leif Garrett here with visions of super combs and skates dancing in my head, because it's time for the roller rink anthem of 1971. American Pie by Don McLean, the roller rink anthem of 1971. You look a little like a sissy skating together. That's okay.
Singing, this'll be the day that I die. This'll be the day that I die.
Foxy ladies of 71.
Eric Estrada here, sending out an APB for the foxiest ladies of 1971. Do you copy? Tina Turner, rolling on the river Fox. Candice Bergen, foxy carnal knowledge lady. And Jill St. John, foxy bond lady. When James got through with her, she was shaken and stirred. That's a big 10-4 on the foxy ladies of 1971. And yes, they can call me Punch any day.
I love the 70s. I love the 70s.
Hogan's Heroes was Gilligan's Island meets the Holocaust.
World War II and the Nazis. Probably the singularly most unfunny thing in the world, and they successfully made a comedy about it.
Tomorrow's Hitler's birthday.
Yes.
And I wondered if you'd care to celebrate by giving us 2 extra hours of electric light in the barracks.
So you can have more time for digging your escape tunnel?
We've already finished the tunnel. We're working on an elevator now.
This was in Nazi Germany. It was an Allied prison camp where presumably Jews were being slaughtered no more than 100 yards away. But these guys still had time to play poker, get laid, and sneak off for weekend adventures in the Alps.
They were always escaping the camp for short-term missions. I don't know why they just didn't escape for good.
I think they never tried to escape because they were having too much fun.
I think because it had the best actors and the funniest people and great writers, they got away with it.
Sergeant Schultz was great.
You are up to something.
I know nothing, Hogan.
Colonel Klink was always losing his hat. Richard Dawson, pre-Family Feud.
Colonel Stimme speaking. Heil Hitler, Heil Hitler.
He was like going to be a star. He was a serious actor. The next thing you know, you're like, I'm drunk and bitter.
Bob Crane was Hogan. Had we known then what we know now about Bob Crane, would have changed the face of everything.
I love the fact that Bob Crane was a big old sex freak.
Feels so good.
You know, the Germans sexually are a little... It's probably where Crane picked up all that crap.
And that was a military leader. A lot more men like Hogan. We wouldn't be having the problems we're having today.
The only way to fight the war, you know that.
You did?
If I were a rich man.
Persecuted singing Jews in 19th century Russia. Box office in gold.
I remember it was a really big deal. I actually wore my best clothes. It was a big night to go see Fiddler on the Roof.
Huge hit. Lines around the block. And here's the best part. Starring Zero Mostel.
You might say every one of us is a Fiddler on the Roof.
Fiddler on the Roof is about a man named Tevye and his family. He has 3 daughters.
I have 5 pleasant daughters.
Matchmaker, matchmaker, make me a match. Find me a find, catch me a catch.
The daughters want to marry for love, and that's something the parents never considered.
Who wouldn't want to see that story?
Paul Michael Glaser played the guy who courted the middle daughter, and this is all before he was Starsky.
They don't ask permission, they just want his blessing. You don't ask permission? You don't ask permission?
You're not asking for my permission?
Tradition! Ah! Tradition! At 5 I went to Hebrew school, at 9 I learned a trade.
My mother would force me to watch it. She would tie me to the beanbag chair after our cheese sandwich supper, and I would be forced to watch Fiddler on the Roof.
I remember everything about it, every word to every song.
And it was
Can't
just
senior moment.
and you know, you when you see it, you went beautiful.
You get this stuff hammered into your head. This is why I'm a headbanger. Because I had to listen to that crap day in and day out.
Mr. Mouth on one hand, Fiddler on the Roof on the other. We love it all. We'll take all of it, thank you.
I were a wealthy
Eight-track classic.
Stairway to Heaven is, you know, the legendary last song that's played at every make-out party.
Where, you know, you've been working up your nerve all night to maybe kiss a girl, you know.
You slow dance And then you keep slow dancing even when the song gets really fast. And then you're like, you make out. It's like the best song ever.
There's a lady sure all the glitters is gold, and she's buying the stairway to heaven.
Every party that we had, we played that song over and over. When I hear it now, I still think about the smell of bong water and keg juice.
Stairway to Heaven is always one of the greatest songs to go roller skating to. You start off kind of slow, and then once it gets going, you're whipping around that ring. I broke my arm to Stairway.
Led Zeppelin was not make out for me, and it wasn't school dance. I wasn't into that. I was ditching school then and experimenting in drugs. Stairway to Heaven was a get high song for me.
Yeah, I'd say that's the original power ballad.
And she's buying a stairway to heaven.
Far out.
I remember the Ouija board trying to conjure up spirits, and it was creepy. I don't even want to mess with those anymore.
You basically put your fingers on the little thingy, and you aren't really moving it, but it's moving, and you're supposed to call back the spirits of the dead.
My favorite thing, we did this as a kid, was you'd always call a phone number that you were given on the Ouija board and ask for the person whose name came with it. Is Greg there? Yeah, just a second. Ah! Click.
This is too weird.
I remember being younger and trying it out with my girlfriends. We always tried to do fun, crushy questions, like, does so-and-so like me?
Will I get married to a really handsome man someday? And Ouija would go like, over here, towards the yes, and maybe no.
You'd ask it, am I gonna get laid? And it'd always say yes, and it never happened.
You're moving it. Quiet, I'm trying to concentrate here.
I still don't believe those things, obviously. It's a board game, it's put out by Milton Bradley.
I think kids, there's great fun to be had in contacting the dead. You can only play Monopoly so many times before you go, wonder what Uncle Lester would have thought about all this.
Go ahead, ask another. Ask another.
I love 71.
I like to.
Coming up, how one brave soft drink made everything okay.
A carbonated caramel-flavored drink will save us from nuclear holocaust.
Plus, hot pants smoking.
You usually don't wear hot pants if you're going to the PTA.
And the Pinto, everybody's favorite exploding car.
Apparently the rear bumper was made out of flint, so anything that even wedged up against it would go create a spark, and it would blow up like a powder keg.
Next on I Love 1971. But first, log on to VH1.com for everything 70s. Artist info, photo galleries, CD purchases, and great 70s trivia games.
I love the 70s.
Macho Men of 71.
When you're 10, you know a thing or two about men.
Macho, baby.
Bo Derek here with the Macho Men of 1971. Sean Connery, James Bond Macho Man, Rod Stewart. Wake up, Maggie. There's a Macho Man who's got something to say to you. Hey! And James Brown. It's a Macho Man's world.
Macho Man. I love the 70s. I love the 70s.
Hi, this is Don Cornelius. Welcome to Soul Train.
The smoothest black man in history, Don Cornelius.
For a trip that is guaranteed to trip us all out, a genius by the name of Stevie coming at you right after this message.
Don Cornelius' voice just, when you heard it, it just like shivers up your spine. He's just so deep and so cool in the way he would say, Soul Train, Soul Train.
The most important thing to do in the 70s was get up on a Saturday morning and watch Soul Train.
I didn't really watch much Soul Train. It wasn't so much for my people. And by that, I mean Jewish kids from New Jersey.
Ain't I clean, bad machine, super cool, super mean,
Soul Train was just like funk, style, sexy, groovy, a black statement. It was like, let me show you how we do this.
It
was the black version of American Bandstand.
I believe that Soul Train and American Bandstand were definitely rivals. I gotta keep it real. Soul Train hands down.
The best thing about Soul Train, the what? Soul Train line.
Now we'd like to hip you to the Soul Train line. It gives everybody a chance to kind of style a while, and it's something you might want to get into on your own.
This is your moment to shine. This is your moment to show, you know, the really good moves.
And the guys are all, you know, hopping and popping and doing this.
That was the earlier break dancing.
You know, woo!
That was the earlier electric boogie.
I think I pulled a groin.
That's where the hippies closed at the time, all the froze was popping, the new dances. It was the funkiest ride on television.
Jive Turkey.
Boy, the way Glenn Miller played. Guys like us, we had it made.
Those were the days.
And you knew when you were there.
Girls were girls and men were men.
Those were the days.
Those were the days back when black people had to drink at separate fountains and you could shoot protesters.
We got a black president, Jefferson, because God ain't ready for that yet. That's right. God's got to try it out first by making a black pope, which he ain't done yet.
This is the show that featured America's favorite bigot, Archie Bunker, making racism funny again.
You put a Jap and a Chink together, you're going to tell me which is which?
Just thinking that that was on national television, that would just not fly today.
It kind of pushed the envelope back then. Kind of glad it did because it gave people something to think about.
I represent the Gay Liberation Front.
This must be Mrs. Robinson.
Edith sounded dumb, but she never ended up being as dumb as she sounded.
Oh.
She would always say something that would put Archie in his place.
I'm just trying to show you something.
Stifle!
I like that there was a character named Meathead. I mean, that's just built-in comedy right there.
Keep away from me, meathead. Keep away from me.
Shut up, you meathead.
You're free to say anything you want, but if anyone disagrees with you, they're either thrown into jail or called a meathead, right?
That's right, because this is America, the land that I love.
If there was a weak link in that cast, I think you'd have to say Gloria may have been it. No offense to Sally.
Sally Struthers, before she started eating in front of impoverished, children. These children have nothing to eat.
No welfare state.
I know people like that to this day. I don't think All in the Family exaggerated anything at all.
That show is just absolute, total brilliance.
I love 71.
Lou, first of all, what's the correct pronunciation of your name?
It's Alcindor. Well, I hope you can get it right now.
I think we'll get it now. Lou Alcindor.
Alcindor.
Lou Alcindor smartly changes his name to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, because Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is a cooler name than anything.
Inside against Reed.
Kareem was the man.
Center against Reed.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar developed what was one of the greatest weapons in the history of basketball, the skyhook.
There's the hook. He got it.
Everybody tried it on the playgrounds. Skyhook! And then you just throw it. I mean, what was he, 7 foot? And then he'd jump. He'd throw that arm up. Unstoppable.
I believe that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and a couple of other basketball players are just part of a national conspiracy to make me feel shorter than I actually am.
7 feet 5, no doubt.
A great sort of style about him.
He had a funky little thing going, and I like the afro.
But he had the mutton chops going.
He was like a very tall, black Buddy Holly.
that was really good at basketball.
And then him being in Game of Death with Bruce Lee, that put him on a different level.
The best part is where he kicks Bruce in the chest, and they show Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's footprint on Bruce's chest, and it's this big.
After Bruce Lee and just seeing him on the court, I just became a fan. I wasn't even too much into basketball, but Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, I was like, yeah, that's one of the OGs.
You did?
Hot pants! In the 70s, we had this fashion called hot pants. They were real, real tight, and they were real, real short.
It's like a mini skirt with a line in the middle. And I always liked hot pants because you see a lot more legs.
They were very short. They were so short that you could see your cheek.
The little creasing of their ass would kind of come out.
Fat bottom girls, you make the rockin' world go round.
Used to wear like bright, loud colors like pinks and greens to get the attention of the guys. Wear you some hot pants, girl. You will get the attention.
First time I saw hot pants, I think I was in church.
You usually don't wear hot pants if you go into the PTA.
Hot pants are like one of the nastiest things that anyone could wear, and they quickly went from being a fashion thing to being a tarts thing. That's what hookers wore by the mid-70s. Any self-respecting girl working the street was in hot pants.
I think it's always appropriate to wear hot pants spiritually, as long as you have them on under there somewhere, darling.
I love 71.
My turn to operate. Operate?
Butterfingers.
It's Operation the Wacky Doctor's Game. Batteries not included.
I love this game so much. It was so much fun.
It takes a very steady hand.
I did it. That's $200 for me.
It was all about having a steady hand, going into the patient, picking out whatever you had to pick out without doing it, and as long as you ain't get buzzed, you was going.
Operation is really a game of the past. With all the liability issues that doctors face, you simply could not afford to risk taking out someone's Charlie horse or to go anywhere near either of their funny bones.
There goes his funny bone.
And butterflies in the stomach, that's something that can be treated with radiation now.
You remember the sound. That's whatever. You could pick that sound out of anywhere.
But, oh, terrible. I hate it. Take out his ferret for $100. You'll never do that. Don't touch the side.
You'd have it for about a year, and then you've lost all the little pieces, and you could never play it again.
May I play?
Operation, a Milton Bradley game.
8-track classic.
Jeremiah was a bullfrog. Was a good friend of mine.
Never understood a single word he said, but I helped him drink his wine.
But I helped him drink his wine. We were 7 years old singing that song in assembly.
Joy to the world.
My dad loved Three Dog Night.
The boys and girls.
If you're a songwriter and you can start a song with conviction that says Jeremiah was a bullfrog, you know that right
You're
now,
the greatest songwriter ever.
You're in for 3.5 minutes of pure song enjoyment right there.
I always thought that Jeremiah was a bullfrog, because as a kid, that's cool. Joy to the world. Who needs joy to the world? I've got joy to the world. What I need is Jeremiah a bullfrog.
Because everybody's got a bullfrog for a friend, right? What is that?
Joy to the fishes in the deep blue sea. Joy to you and me.
I love 71.
Coming up, who else thinks Oompa Loompas were a little sexy?
I just think of them all together on a date with me. Lots of little hands, lots of little... Ooh.
Plus, bell-bottoms spin out of control.
They started out with the best of intentions. My ankles need more room. And they ended with, why am I wearing a skirt from the knee down?
And the weird world of HR Pufnstuf.
One of the houses sneezed. Everything talked. Candles talked, your head talked, your shoes talked. It was great.
Next on I Love 1971. But first, remember this?
First she squeezes the tomatoes, then she squeezes the melon, and now she's squeezing the new Charmin bathroom tissue. Please don't squeeze the Charmin.
This new Charmin bathroom tissue is soft, so squeezably soft.
But Mrs. Logan, the sign.
Mr. Whipple, please don't squeeze the Charmin.
Wonders of 71.
I'm Linda Carter, bringing you the wonders of 1971.
All the world is waiting for you.
In 71, Hamburger Helper made burgers more fun. McDonald's Egg McMuffin made eggs more gelatinous, and the very first Starbucks made ordering coffee a high-level negotiation.
I love the 70s. I love the 70s. HR Pufnstuf. Push your bed when things get rough.
I watched HR Pufnstuf. He couldn't get a little because he can't get enough.
Okay, so HR Pufnstuf, he can't do a little, and yet, well, because he can't, I don't know what it means.
Can't do a little because he can't do enough.
H&R Pufnstuf, the whole Sid and Marty Krofft creations, twisted sort of Alice in Wonderland, drug-induced little playhouse.
How lucky I am, how lucky I am.
The premise of the show was this. Sid and Marty Krofft were very, very high on drugs.
Puffin stuff, puffing stuff.
And they made a show about a boy who had a flute that talked to him.
Oh my, Jimmy, let's get out of here.
It was spirited away by a witch to a fantasy world so that she could have the flute, which she could never have.
I want that golden flute, and I'll get it.
I don't know why the witch is chasing me. I don't have anything she could possibly want.
Oh, it's not you she wants, Jimmy. It's me.
Well, except for the only golden talking flute encrusted with diamonds.
Well, why couldn't I have been just a plain, ordinary wooden flute?
I'm afraid Freddie is right. The witch wants him.
The mayor was a dinosaur with a southern accent, okay?
Well, howdy.
He's just a strange orange and green dragon/cowboy with strange little white boots and a horrible, gigantic head.
Well, I'll be hornswoggled.
There was no plot. One of the houses sneezed. Everything talked. Candles talked, your head talked, your shoes talked. It was great.
Like groovy. That tree's talking. HR Pufnstuf.
It just didn't make any sense. It was just bizarre.
These things were freaky, you know, and you go back and look at them, I'm like, that's not a kid's story. This guy was high.
See you next week.
I love 71.
Dirty Harry was awesome, and he is the ultimate epitome of cool.
Total crush. Oh, total. That big gun of his.
This cop, he had his own code of justice.
I shoot the bastard, that's my policy.
Shoot first, ask questions later. And I've taken that as my personal motto. You don't want to know what my body count is, sister.
He just was pissed off all the time. He had that whole sort of look like you don't want to mess with him.
Why Clint Eastwood was always pissed off, I don't know. Prostate problems, hemorrhoidal tissue, something, I don't know. That's his character. He's just the coolest of the cool guys. Badass.
You could ask yourself a question. Do I feel lucky?
You have to ask yourself, do you feel lucky?
Well, do you, punk?
I do. That was good, wasn't it?
My favorite line is when he and his new partner are driving along and he yells, "Get out of the way, hammerhead!"
Get the hell out of the way, hammerhead.
He was the first guy to establish the new criteria for action movies, which is collateral damage. It's just okay. You lose a water tower, 7, 8 cars, a dozen innocent bystanders, it's fine. As long as you get that one guy who did something wrong in the first scene.
He had a lot going on beneath the surface. I think he cared about the common man, and what he really wanted to do was clean up the streets of San Francisco, and he did that by shooting a lot of people.
Now you know why they call me Dirty Harry. Every dirty job that comes along.
Solid.
The Pinto was kind of the lemon of the 70s, and people were into it.
Pintos were everywhere. I think it's the best-selling car of all time.
They were popular because they were this little cheap car that you can fit a family of 18 into.
It was the first car that was named after of a Latino, you know, the Pinto Bean, you know.
It was about 5 feet long and 2 feet wide, and it was good for short people.
The Ford Pinto was butt ugly. It was dangerous because if you drove it, people would kick your ass.
When my father had a Pinto, I certainly wouldn't be asking him for the Pinto to go out on Saturday night. Kidding me? I'll take my bike.
Cars don't look enough like turtles or the head of a duck. I want a car that looks like the head of a duck that blows up for less than $13,000. That's what I want.
Its gas tank exploded after a rear-end collision.
The Ford Pinto was a pyrotechnic delight.
Apparently the rear bumper was made out of flint, so anything that even wedged up against it would go create a spark, and it would blow up like powder keg.
I'd rather be driving something else that isn't gonna blow up if I get hit.
It's a curious thing to see someone driving a Pinto today. They're driving it like a classic car. It's almost like they didn't get the memo that if you are struck from behind, you'll be incinerated.
I love 71.
Bell bottoms. They started out with the best of intentions. My ankles need more room. And they ended with, why am I wearing a skirt from the knee down?
My uncle bought me a pair of bell bottoms. I loved them. They were like $14. And my grandfather saw them and cut them up right in front of me.
People act like they have low-rise jeans now. I swear to God, the zipper on my bell bottoms that I found in my closet the other day couldn't have been any longer than that. It's like I had to have a bikini wax.
There were bell bottoms, and then there were elephant bells, which I guess were big enough for elephants.
Elephant bells were worn by the kid who wanted to be really groovy and bought them out of the Sears catalog. You know, his mum paid for them, and, you know, it's kind of sad.
It went the entire length of your foot, so that it would go all the way over your shoes.
Which doesn't make any sense, because you spend a fortune on these great-looking platform shoes.
Yeah, I had big, nasty-looking platform shoes and a hair roll.
I had thousands of pairs of bell bottoms over the 70s. And the sickening part about it is, they're back and they're selling it to me for twice the price. Those are my vintage jeans. What are you talking about?
You did.
I like to teach the world to sing.
I think that's the greatest commercial ever made.
I'd like to buy the world a Coke.
And keep it company.
Da, 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 and then it widens out, and there are just zillions of people from all different continents holding cans of Coke.
And then the next person come in, and they keep going, and they keep going, to the point that you be like, damn.
It's the first product commercial that they actually were sort of pitching as a public service announcement. A carbonated caramel-flavored drink will save us from nuclear holocaust.
I'd like to buy the world a Coke, but they were more interested in buying the world, I think. Excuse me while I have a sip of my Diet Coke.
I love 71.
Coming up.
Augustus, please.
It was sick, it was twisted, but it was so damn lovable.
Augustus Glute.
Augustus! Got stuck in the pipe.
He's blocking all
That was the best.
He'll be into marshmallows in 5 seconds.
The legacy of Willy Wonka, next on I Love 1971. But first, the Follicle Fad of 1971.
Hi, I'm Isaac Hayes with your Follicle Fad of 1971. Oh yeah, the He-Man, or Jesus hair, worn by rock gods like the guys in Led Zeppelin, The Who, and Queen. Who knows more about hair than me?
I love the 70s.
Bella says the primate of 71 is...
Willy Wonka was fly. Come on, he had the candy. Everybody liked him.
And now details on the sudden announcement that has captured the attention of the entire world.
Willy Wonka is a chocolatier who has a worldwide contest, and 5 people will be selected who will get to go visit his chocolate factory.
Wonkamania has descended upon the globe.
Do you think I've got a chance to find one?
There's a poor boy named Charlie who buys a Wonka bar and has a golden ticket. It's the 5th of 5 golden tickets. The kids go through the tour, led by Gene Wilder at his best.
I find the premise of that movie a little weird. I got the golden ticket. I'm gonna go see a factory. We're going to the factory.
Would you come forward, please?
Largely because of greed, kids get eliminated one by one.
They get what they deserve. You know, those kids were not good kids. Uh-oh, this is sounding really bad.
It's a movie that's basically advocating killing children.
Augustus, please.
Augustus Gloot.
Got stuck in the pipe.
He's barking.
That was a mess.
He'll be made into marshmallows in 5 seconds.
Mike TV.
Well, you're dead.
He got zapped into the television and became small, and I was like, that is frightening.
I'm famous. I'm a TV star.
You call that unharmed?
I wouldn't do that.
I love the part where that girl turned into the blueberry.
It happens every time. They all become blueberries.
Help!
Oompa, loompa, doompa dee doo. I got another puzzle for you.
Strangely, the Oompa Loompas are very sexy. They're very hairy, very butch. I just think of them all together on a date with me. Lots of little hands, lots of little... Ooh.
Veruca Salt. She was a greedy little girl.
Hey, Daddy, I want an Oompa Loompa.
But Daddy, I want an Oompa Loompa now. Veruca!
I want a golden goose.
I want a golden goose now.
I want it now.
Charlie.
It was little comedy, semi-musical cautionary tales to scare children into behaving. So you don't really want all that candy because you'll end up turning into some sort of a beast.
I had to test you, Charlie, and you passed the test. You won!
Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory was a tremendously superb tale and still holds up to this day.
Don't forget what happened to the man who suddenly got everything he always wanted.
What happened?
He lived happily ever after.
I love 71.